America, it's me again. I know we are all aware of Hurricane Sandy and the devastation it has caused on the East Coast. I wanted to give a shout out and some prayers for the families and people affected. My heart goes out to them. I live in North Carolina and was very fortunate not to be touched by this storm. I'm here nice and warm, have electricity, have food in my stomach, and good shelter over my head. Other people right now are not so fortunate though. The death toll just reached 110, and right now hundreds of thousands of people are still without power and left in the cold, starving, thirsty, and some are still dying. And there's talk of another storm on the way. Now, I've been watching the news and was wondering a few things. For a whole week now, the devastation of Hurricane Sandy has wreaked havoc on our nation. Well, I believe disasters like these are extremely unfortunate and in no way a good thing. But I do know that hard times like these are the perfect opportunity to show leadership. They test our morals and strength. Not only do they bring out the true colors of leaders, but refresh the American people's bond, as it is a time where it is essential that we pull and work together. It's a time for the true patriotism to rise in the hearts of all Americans. Just like so many others, I looked to Obama during this devastation to see how he reacted, as well as Romney. Romney set up a storm relief event and was very successful in providing a way for donations, and his campaign even went out and spent several $1,000s for donations as well. Oddly, he was criticized for this by certain media outlets. It was disgraceful. Obama did try to show his support in helping the victims when he locked arms with Governor Chris Christie of New Jersey. Also, he did sign papers to get the state help. However, it was his job to do so. I was initially encouraged that he showed up to assess the situation, but as I look back on the events that transpired, it appears his stop may have been for other motives. He said that all the red tape would be removed and that the victims would have the full support of the United States government. To this day, there are still thousands and thousands of Americans that were affected by Sandy that are still without the basic necessities of life: food, water, and shelter. America, we can do better. Think of David Crockett, a man who had so much going for him, yet volunteered for a cause he believed in and ultimately gave his life up for it. Obama said himself in one of the presidential debates about how times have changed. We don't use bayonets or wagons anymore. So, if we have the technology to rescue these people, why aren't we making better efforts to do so? Where are the Davy Crockett's of this generation? I read where Obama, pointing fingers again at Bush, noted how Bush completely failed during Hurricane Katrina and how FEMA was a disaster. For those of you who don't know what FEMA is, it's the Federal Emergency Management Agency that helps prevent and help disasters such as Hurricane Sandy. But Obama, despite his criticism of the previous administration, still has not lived up to his own expectations. The frustrated former mayor of New York notes how FEMA didn't pre-plan, specifically to arrange the delivery of water, generators, and gasoline for victims in New York and New Jersey. What do we have FEMA for if they're not pre-planning? He asks. He also concludes, I think that FEMA is as much of a failure now as it was at the time of Katrina. This is a truthful statement. Once again, hundreds of thousands of people right now in this day of age in a powerful country are without basic necessities. As I stated before, over a week and still no food, sparse water, and inadequate shelter have left many in despair. Obama is right. We don't use bayonets and wagons anymore. So, at least wagons are better than nothing, though. I'm not trying to rail against Obama nor disrespect him. However, when you become a man that criticizes the work of others, it's hard for me not to be disappointed. After all, he is the President of the United States. I recall another lesson from my father, who taught me, never point to the splinter in your brother's eye when you have a log in your own. In the end, Obama really hasn't made much of a sacrifice, and he is a far cry from a true patriot, such as David Crockett. Granted, I'm sure Obama has many qualities, but his compassion is lacking. He spent more time in the past at basketball games, fundraisers, concerts, and golfing than he did in New York or New Jersey. He made one of those moving speeches and then was on his way. I just don't think Obama's words are going to save America, no matter how good and valiant they sound. And another lesson I've learned is that if your words are without action, then they are just empty words. Obama talked about doing some nation building here at home, but why then is he not out helping? He would have done better than to not worry about campaigning. Instead, he would have impressed me more had he tried to do more to focus and help on the thousands and thousands of Americans still in need. I don't know how many regulations and rules he would have to go through to get it figured out, but again, actions speak louder than words. And just one last thing. Obama's comment to the American people of voting for revenge? Revenge is not a brick that will help build this nation. There's not time for that. I believe a country built on revenge will do more damage than this hurricane did. Remember, I'm an independent, but looking at the situation, it was obvious to me who has more leadership qualities to be the President of the United States. Now, more than ever, we need a president who can unify our country instead of divide. So, I encourage you to do the same. Put aside any biased thoughts about each candidate and ask yourself, who has truly been more of a leader? Who really walks the walk and not just talks the talk? If you are encouraged and have the ability to do so, please take some action of your own. Please donate to the American Red Cross or find some other ways to help these people affected by Hurricane Sandy. I'm Victoria Tolley, and thank you for listening.